Alrighty.
Alrighty.
That takes us into one of the most anticipated matches of all WrestleMania. Seth Freakin Rollins versus...
the worst kept secret.
Oh, well, that's exactly what I've written here.
Worst kept secret as well, yes.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins versus an opponent of Mr. McMahon's choosing, who was revealed to be the son of the grandson of a plumber, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, returning to WWE for the first time in 6 years.
Well, there's a wee bit of history to this. Well, not history, but there's a little bit to that. I thought when he initially came out, now, bear me out if I'm wrong, because, sometimes I don't sort of see it. I didn't think the initial pop was that much. He got a massive pop on Raw last night when he opened the show and he came out. But at WrestleMania, I was looking and I thought, oh, this is a bit sort of flat or a bit not what you would expect. Yeah, for a homecoming of that sort of magnitude.
Oh, this is what I think of this, right?
Yeah.
Is that AEW is still a fringe promotion, no matter what anyone says. Right? You got billions involved and everything else, and they've got one of the biggest rosters now, the biggest roster
by far.
Wrestling, right? Right. But they're still on TBS with not a great. I think what they average, somewhere around about the 8 or 900,000. They average.
Yeah.
Raw is still averaging 1.2s, 1.3s. Right, and then SmackDown and et cetera. So the larger reach worldwide is to WWE.
Oh.
And if you're not watching AEW and you're not keeping the flow, it'd be like a new guy walking in with no real. If you follow the industry and you follow everything, you're going to get it. But most WWE fans are casual fans. They're not really into following everything that goes on about wrestling. I think I reckon probably realistically, 5 out of 5 WWE fans, if you ask them, oh, what about Japanese wrestling? They look at you and go, what? There is Japanese wrestling? They wouldn't know. So I think that was a little bit of it, right? I think that they literally forgot about him. And he's come back in. I think they was expecting to come in with a bigger kick, right?
Yeah.
And he wasn't a big star when he left.
No. And the bit of information I saw was he left because when they wanted to renew his contract, he was offered $500,000 a year. He's come back.
WWE? But who's that from WWE?
When he wanted to leave, WWE, he was offered $500,000 a year, so he left and went to AEW.
Yeah.
He's now come back on a multi-year deal of $3 million a year.
Well, he was at AEW, and at one point he was their highest paid guy.
Yeah.
And then Punk come in.
Yeah.
Danielson come in, and he said to Tony, I want to be paid what these guys are getting paid. And Tony said no.
Yeah.
So he went to WWE, which is understandable. If you're not happy with what you're getting paid, then, if somebody else is offering you the money, take it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's that you only got
offered a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal and the biggest company in the world. Well, yeah, you would.
Yeah, right. So, all right, he had creative control at AEW, but creative control in front of a small audience. So does it really matter? So that.
As you and I both know, Mick, sometimes creative control is a massive, massive headache that you don't.
That's exactly right. That's right.
If he could just go and work his gimmick and get 3 times the money, I'd go.
Yeah, as long as they're using him correctly, they're not butchering the character or the what's going on. Yeah, but
he made it very clear on Raw last night that he's come back to do what his father couldn't do or didn't do, because they put a picture up of Dusty from 1977 at Madison Square Garden holding up the belt, which he'd won over superstar Billy Graham, I think it was at the time, but he didn't get the belt because it was a DQ.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So he said that, his dream was always to win it and give the belt to his dad.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, while I physically can't do that now, my dream is still to come and win the belt. So, whether he, starts getting a push in the next 6 months towards the belt or something, or...
Well, I'm going to say this for match, for technique, for move, for storytelling, this was the best match of the entire show.
Okay. I thought it was a wee bit slow, but maybe that's...
It told a really good story, worked at a good pace. Seth Rollins done an awesome job. That suplex out, the old style, Bret Hart Dynamite Kid suplex out to the floor was amazing. The reverse suplex from the top. They didn't dick around for too long up there and try and balance it out and tell a story. They got up there and done it, got it sorted out quick, so it didn't look too like, they were helping each other out.
That inverted superplex by Rollins.
And stuff like that, and the way they timed the match and the selling and everything else. For me, it was the match of the show both nights.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, look,
move for move, not the hottest match.
Yeah.
It was not the hottest match. I will never say that it was the hottest match. It was like, but I'll tell you now, for move, technique for technique, psychology for psychology, for me, that was the match of the whole entire programs.
I think there was a lot of respect too, because again, I keep referring to last night, but Raw. Yeah. But when Cody opened the show and did his promo and Seth Rollins' music played and he came out.
Yeah.
And everyone thought, here we go, this will be the next part, and they'll probably punch on or whatever. And Seth sort of does this thing and he's blinging around like a big fairy and the whole bit. And then he stands there and he extends his hands and they shake hands. Yeah. And you could see it was very, very clear that Seth mouthed the words, welcome home.
Yeah.
And he just walked out and left.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that was a massive show of respect.
Yeah, it was, for me.
I did. I thought it was good.
I didn't see that.
No.
Because I didn't, but I honestly do believe that match on the entire lot, right, was the best.
So what did you give it out of 10?
I gave it 8.5.
Wow. Okay.
You know how hard I score?
Yeah.
Right. I thought watching it was, and I thought that the way it was put together and everything was probably one of the better WWE matches I'd seen for a long time.
What about you, young Anthony?
I gave it the exact same, and I think this is the only time I've given a match this rating, which was 8.5.
Gee. Well, I went 8, so I'm not far off you. But you're right. It was look, two veterans, two great workers, and it just shows when you got two great workers, you can do anything in the ring.
That's right, and hold for hold.
Counter
psychology, everything else was brilliant.
I like the homage to Dusty with the flip-flop flap and the bionic elbow. I just thought that was nice.
It was nice, yeah.
I liked it. It was a nice touch. I mean, because he was very, very emotional in the ring last night when he kept talking about his father. Like the voice broke up a few times and there were tears. And, I mean, like Dusty was one of the greatest.
Oh, he was for sure. Yeah.
He was, he was... and revered extensively because he was a massive driving force behind NXT and all that as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Then we what did we do next, young Anthony? We had the women's match.